Aquarius workshop, the illusory fear of the unknown. I start with a quote from Pathwork Lecture 72 with the title About the Fear of Loving. And the quote is as follows. The fear of the unknown is really the fear, will I be able to cope with it? Will my judgment be adequate? Will my reactions be right? Will I make a mistake? Dare I make a mistake? In other words, not knowing yourself is the deepest fear of the unknown. End of quote from Pathwork Lecture 72. Life asks us to take the great courageous step of facing our illusory fear of the unknown and coming to terms with it. Fear of the unknown goes against the natural flow of life and creates tension because, out of distrust, we cannot tolerate the here and now. The unknown may hold something better than the current state, but because it is unknown, it is terrifying to us. Accepting the unknown is linked to accepting emotional independence and personal responsibility. Because we have created everything we experience ourselves, it is a law of nature that we have the capacity to handle that situation, provided we do not fight it. Independence, responsibility, and trusting our abilities are signs of spiritual and emotional maturity, freedom, growth, creativity, self-confidence, strength, and true security. We can only live and truly grow in the deepest sense if we do not flee from the fear of the unknown, but move through it so that we live without fear, with a justified trust in the unknown. In this workshop you will explore with a loving curiosity 3 themes of the Pathwork Lectures regarding the illusory fear of the unknown. The first theme, getting to know the unknown. For humans, the great unknown is death, because we have an unjustified negative mass image of the dying process. But we experience fear of the unknown in all negative aspects of life and in everything that contradicts the desire for pleasure. These situations represent death in a miniature for us, and we fight against it with all our might. We die many times every day. The better we know ourselves and thus have a healthy attitude toward daily death, the better the life force can flow through us. The next quote stemmed from Pathwork Lecture 81. The solution lies in facing the unknown, in confronting the fear of it, and in learning the strength to die. He who knows how to die knows how to live. Needless to say, you do not have to wait for actual physical death to occur in order to learn this. Not only your occasional conscious fear of death or derivations of it can help you, but also all the other aspects of death that comprise daily living. End of quote from Pathwork Lecture 81. The second theme, overcoming fear of being. The fear of the unknown stems from the fear of being. We believe in the duality that we must either exercise control and manipulate life or that we are in danger. Every person is afraid of being because every person is afraid of their own being, of themselves. When we have overcome this fear, we have crossed the most important threshold of evolution. On this path of development, we must learn to flow with the divine forces and thus become masters of these forces instead of resisting them. The next quote stems from Pathwork Lecture 127. The fear of being means the fear of life, the fear of death, the fear of love, the fear of pleasure, the fear of risk, the fear of change, the fear of loss, the fear of the unknown, the fear of pain, the fear of trust, the fear of letting go of control, the fear of self with all its conflicting and apparently conflicting, right and wrong and apparently right and wrong emotions, feelings, reactions, drives, needs, expressions. End of quote from Pathwork Lecture 127. The third and last theme, entering the feared unknown. When we fear something, that fear produces the very circumstances we fear. But those feared circumstances are the only way to become convinced that the fear is an illusion. The fear of the unknown diminishes when we face and frankly acknowledge that fear, understanding and recognizing the unknown element within it. We cannot overcome fear unless we courageously take the leap into the unknown and go through it. The last quote stems from Pathwork Lecture 130. Nothing one truly knows, even the greatest difficulties, are really feared. In order to make the unknown known, the feared unknown must often be entered into, just like the experience of dying. But this must by no means be construed to mean the looking for negative painful experience. When you open your whole psyche for a positive experience without a trace of fear of the negative, then the unknown must become more and more known. Life becomes more and more of a fulfillment on all levels. End of quote from Pathwork Lecture 130. I wish you peace and all the best. Thank you.